Right, okay, so I'm from Brearley Architects and Urbanists, and we did the Pride Centre with Grant Amon Architects. 2017 was a really big, important year for the Pride communities. The same-sex marriage bill was passed, and in Victoria, the state government agreed to fund a Pride Centre. And the Pride Centre was the subject of a design competition, one of the rare, fairly open design competitions. And one of our driving themes was to present the communities in a state of becoming. Like the Victorian Trades Hall, you know, this building needed to be a milestone in the progress of our country towards inclusivity, but more importantly, it needs to be a place from which to launch further campaigns and drive equality further. The City of Port Phillip donated a site in Fitzroy Street, St Kilda. This was selected over other suburbs in Melbourne because of the deep history of inclusiveness of St Kilda and these communities. One of the objectives in the brief was to create a building of great welcoming and safety. And one thing that the communities do have in common is St Kilda. So we thought that if we could capture this spirit of place of St Kilda, that we might already be some way towards making that welcoming building. Of course, St Kilda's architecture is extraordinary, and one of the things we exploited was the overt indulgence in curvaceous architecture. The site is Fitzroy Street. It's a shop front. This is Munro's restaurant. It's not a great site to place a public building, but hell, it was donated. We learned from the street some of the pop architecture, some of Alan Powell's, great understanding of architecture here. The sort of driving geometry came from this idea of a bundle of tubes nestling on the site. And this, our site's an L-shaped plan, and this is the maximum building envelope. And the tubes, once they're run through the site, provide this, set up the curvature that we're talking about, this excessive curvature. But then we subtract from that. We take out what we need to make all of the programs and functions happen. And that's this process where we have the emergence of sort of formal architecture happening. So for instance, we've cut out for the trees on the rooftop, cut out for the activities space, scalloped out the back to retain the existing peppercorn trees, cut out a big atrium space in the middle to create a great gathering sort of heart to the building. That's taken the form of an ellipsoid. That ellipsoid, is enacted on by the tubes, and like a Gordon Matter Clark cutting, it gives these, fantastic, unpredictable and very sensuous curvatures. You can see here the tubes passing right through the building. It's a very connective geometry, the tubes. That's why we kept using it. This is the section on the left. You'll see Fitzroy Street and the portico. The front half of the building, we made a double height space. It's very sort of public feeling in nature and very robust to carry out large scale projects. The circulation all happens around this ellipsoid, and that's where light comes through the building, because it's got shops on either side, doesn't have any light coming in. So the building was designed as a Green Star project, but at the last minute, the final accreditation just proved to break the budget. So we've got the initiatives in there, and we're seeking an accreditation with EarthCheck, which is good because it's an annual thing that keeps refining the efficiencies of the building. The plan, I'll just show a couple of plans. The entry through the portico is down a corridor here, which is the gallery, the main gallery space. And it leads to the vertical circulation here. The front of the space is very public. It's a shared workspace. There's a cafe being constructed at the moment there. At the back of the building, we have the multifunction space, the bifold wall, so it can spill out and join the bar catering space, which then further connects to one of the many meeting rooms of the building. The meeting room, the building is basically a big conference centre. Some of the top floors are rented to related businesses, mostly health centres, to create income for the building. There are also permanent tenants, resident tenants in the building. But it's largely a shared building by all the communities throughout Victoria. There was a council car park on the site, so we've maintained that. There's a ramp down to the basement car park, and this is a discreet entry for those that don't want to be seen going through the front door. This is the first floor, so you can see a number of the resident tenancies here starting to bustle around like stalls in a marketplace, having some self-expression. Joy FM, the big radio station's here with 3 studios. There's a family room here, a -18 group, more meeting rooms. Importantly, this building is a place that's going to change. You know, this is a project you hand over, and part of this authentic sort of self-expression is encouraged and enabled by a sacrificial layer of timber on the tenancy's shop fronts. The building presents as a very robust, almost ruin, although it's in becoming. It sort of has a sense of becoming or being unfinished. It also feels like it's been there for a hell of a long time, and importantly, will be there for a lot longer. The portico is the obvious, you know, public building making gesture reaching right out to the street. We had to jump through a lot of hurdles to win that. You can see here the tubes, that very connective geometry linking the street with the building. Inside, you can see the expressed services, pretty rough and ready, more like a workshop warehouse than a polished corporate building. This is a new organisation. It's free to emerge and do whatever it needs to do. This is some of the scalloping, bringing about this sort of expressing and enabling the coexistence of needs within the building. So a big, robust workspace. A lot of that furniture is donated, and we're waiting on more to be donated. This is a view of the atrium space. You'll see in the background some of the lockers. We did community consultation. That was something that came out of that. People wanted to leave their stuff there. The atrium acts as a stage, as a backdrop. We consulted with Indigenous artists. We've got a number of initiatives to be put in place this year. Multifunction space, shared workspaces for volunteers to spill out and work in. Building's a kit of pasts, pretty robust. The back of it's a metal facade. This is about being darker and more recessive for the neighbours here. Events, rooftop, all sorts of activities, weddings, parties, everything. And this is the start of many interventions by the client. This is an AIDS memorial around our flagpole, which will have coloured lights. Snapshot from the Pride March last month. So we hope we've gone some way to creating this welcoming, worthy building. We hope we've captured that spirit of St Kilda. More importantly, we hope we've created a place that a lot of the community throughout Victoria can be, you know, proud of. I mean, this is a building that enables our youth to come out and be who they want to be above all.